Hello, welcome back to the channel. I'm Jeff, and one of the questions I used to get asked all the time when I worked in peer support was, how do I stop negative self-talk? And that's what today's video is going to be all about. Now, honestly, negative self-talk loops and having an inner critic and an inner voice, I understand why a lot of people want to learn how to manage that. A lot of the times we feel like our inner voice is there, it's helpful, and we want it there. And, thinking is critical. But when it's constantly negative and it's in that loop, it can get really exhausting. Now, I am a chronic overthinker, or at least I was for a very long time. What would happen to me is that my inner voice would spiral, and then it would lead to, massive amounts of anxiety or self-doubt, to the point where I would feel stuck or even paralyzed, as it would get in the way of pretty much me doing anything. While I still deal with managing negative self-talk, I think everyone does and everyone will, I feel like I have a lot more awareness and a few tools that actually help. I'm excited to share 3 of those tools with you today. One of the tools I'm going to show you is something that you can use regularly in moments where you feel like your negative self-talk is starting to spiral. Another is a tool that I use daily. It's kind of like a reflection. And another one is something that I use weekly. And this one really helps, especially when something keeps replaying in my head or I'm noticing a lot of frustration and stress over time. Now, before we get into any of that, if we're trying to manage our negative self-talk, we should probably get clear on what it actually is, as is tradition. So there's this idea in psychology called the Zeigarnik effect. I'm really sorry if I butchered that name. I'll leave a link to the study that I found and the name in the comments. But basically, it explains why unfinished moments stick around in our heads. So basically, if something didn't get closure, your brain has a hard time letting go of the moments that don't feel finished yet. And when that happens, those moments can show up as negative self-talk. Why that's an important thing to know is because it means your negative self-talk isn't your brain attacking you, and it doesn't make any of the thoughts that you're having necessarily true. It's really just your brain holding on to something that still feels unfinished. So instead of trying to shut the thoughts down or replace them with better ones, the goal is to support the moment and try to become aware of the talk and then build ways to manage it. All right, so the first tool that I want to share with you today is an awareness tool. And this is the one that I use in the moment. I can use it frequently whenever I notice my negative self-talk. Oftentimes, overthinking usually starts before we even realize that it's happening. So instead of trying to fix the thoughts, this tool just helps you notice those thoughts and notice them more frequently. For me, that looks like this. I wear a ring on my finger. I'll just show it right here. If you're not a person who likes to wear jewelry, you can use anything. What I used to do is I used to take a pen and draw a small dot on this little fat part of my hand. And really anytime I notice it, so anytime I notice my ring on my finger, which is a lot because I use my hands a lot, whether checking my phone or opening a door or grabbing the steering wheel, what I do is I take it as a cue to just check in with myself, check in with my thinking. How does this actually feel in my body? Then gently what I'll do is I'll just ask myself, is this thought helping me right now? Do I need this thought? Do I want this thought? What's actually going on? And so if this feels like a story my brain is spinning, I might ask, what's actually true here? And if the thought is true, that's okay. Even noticing that can slow the spiral down. Basically, I'm not trying to make the thought necessarily disappear. I'm just trying to notice it before it turns into a loop that runs on autopilot. I could honestly go into depth about the different things that I do in my mind and when negative self-talk is more severe than less severe, but honestly, just using the ring, just becoming aware of my thoughts, just noticing what's going on. Oftentimes I can kind of just pick out what I need in the moment and what I don't need. And if I don't know what I need, or if things are getting, maybe out of control, that's a sign that maybe I need more support. And the best part is that you can use anything to bring to your awareness. I could even use my glasses. Like I said, you can draw a dot on your hand. None of this has to cost any money. So let's move on to tool number 2. This tool for me is a daily reflection. It's just a journaling prompt I usually do, and I usually do it in the morning. You can do it whenever. I just find that when I do this in the morning, it helps set me up throughout the day. So the prompt I use is I ask myself, if I were talking to myself the way I would talk to a friend or someone I loved or someone I cared about, what would I want it to sound like? Like I mentioned earlier, the reason why I like to do this is it starts my day already thinking about thinking, basically. When I imagine how I would speak to someone to me that's important, I often notice how patient, how curious, and how less extreme my talk becomes. Typically, we don't jump straight to worst case scenarios or harsh conclusions when we're talking to a friend or to a loved one. And the goal here, it really isn't to be overly false or overly positive or pretend that everything is fine. It's just to notice the tone that we'd naturally use to someone who we care about and trying to bring a bit of that more gentle tone into our own inner voice. I also find that giving myself an intention over time, this makes it easier to spot when negative self-talk starts drifting into my thinking. When your baseline inner voice is calmer, the spirals stand out faster and they don't really pull you in as hard. Something cool to note here, maybe like a bonus, is you can include this with the first tool. So for me, like once I touch the ring, I will notice my thoughts and then I can ask the question, like, how would I be talking to myself if I were talking to someone who is a loved one? It's a little habit stacking tie-in where you mix the two together. Tool number 3. This is a tool that I use on a weekly basis. So it's a reflection, and I find reflecting weekly really works for building momentum. Oftentimes I notice that I will switch from, tool to practice to meditating to all these things. I switch really often and frequently. And I never really notice progress or feel like I'm managing overthinking, because before one can start or build momentum, I found the new shiny one and I've already switched. And honestly, when I'm switching from practice to practice or tool to tool, I almost feel like it's amplifying the negative thoughts. Yeah, anyway, reflecting weekly just really helps me see and feel progress. So here's what I do. Once a week, I will do a reflection where I try to notice a moment in my week that was tough. For myself, I usually don't try to pick a massive moment, as those are kind of, in my life at least, rare. And I often need something more than a reflection to deal with them. But once I have the moment, I then try to look at what was the lesson and what can I learn from this? So for example, one that I just did before this video was, last week was the first week back from the holiday break. And over the holidays, I don't really restrict myself when doing anything. So like, I don't work out, I play a lot of video games, and I eat a lot of rich foods. So coming back and transitioning from the break to my regular week, I was trying to get back into the habit of, back onto what I consider to be my normal diet. About halfway through the week, I was at a hockey game, and someone I was with bought a big thing of popcorn, and I had a little, and then I had a little more, and I had a little more, and then before I knew it, I was just hunched over the seat shoveling popcorn into my face. And I know it sounds like a small moment, but for some reason I felt really guilty, and I felt really shameful, and how could I break the momentum already first week in? And you could kind of see how my negative thought loop started, the engine started to turn, and everything was going in my mind. So when I looked at this and I reflected on it, I started looking at, okay, what is the lesson that I can learn from this moment? And the lesson that I learned from it was that it's okay to slip up. And I was being present in the moment, enjoying the time with people that I loved. Now, what I find really cool when I find a tough moment and I turn it into a lesson is this helps me stop the spiral that's often associated with negative self-talk from feeling like I failed and reframing it to something that I learned. I think what I like most about this reframe is all failures become opportunities to learn. I literally in real time can see progress, and when I combine that with the ring and the reflection question, it's almost like as if I've summoned some sort of metaphorical megazord. Shout out to all the 90s Power Rangers kids. This superpower combination of negative self-talk. And in the example of the popcorn, it just shows me that I am more vigilant and more aware of the things that I want in my life, like eating healthy versus eating unhealthy. And it can show me all the times where I did eat healthy versus that one time where I didn't. So there are 3 tools that I use to help manage my negative self-talk. And before I end this video, just one point I'd like to make is that there's nothing wrong with negative self-talk. Everyone does it, and it seems to be honestly endless. Our brains are actually designed to try to keep us out of danger, and this is just a way that our brain does that, and it's not always helpful. Also, try to keep in mind that when you're using these tools, you're not really trying to stop the thoughts. You're more learning how to work with them and how to manage them. If you like this video and you want to see more tools like it, or you want to learn more about peer support, which is where I learned a lot of these tools, just click any one of the 2 boxes that you see on the screen. I'm Jeff Turner, and remember to take care of yourself however that looks to you.